Hi guys. So this is just a quick, well, not really a quick video. It might be a little long, but it's kind of a way to help clean up your Google Classroom. So I found this graphic on Facebook on one of my Google Classroom support groups, which is like a whole bunch of teachers, not just in Indiana but around the world, who post different ideas of what using to use Google Classroom. And I've shared some of those ideas that I found. This graphic I thought was a great way to be able to go through and clean up your drive and clean up your Google Classroom for next year. Because not only, I mean, it's kind of in between. We don't know what's going to happen at the beginning of the year, but we do use Google Classroom, so these are great things to do at the end of the year. This is also something that you can go through with your previous classes and do as well. So the first thing you're going to do is grade and return all the work. That gives the students their access back to the work that they had before. They don't once they when they turn it in, until you return the work, they can't access it. They can't make any changes to it. So if it was something fun like a brochure or something like that that they may want to be able to do during the summer, or that they may want to see for the next few years, having access to that for them would be great. The other thing is, or sorry, number two is to archive the old classes. Actually, you're going to want to do number three before number two. But archiving the classes is a way to make them inaccessible, but you are able to restore them and use the work. So it's a great way to keep what you've done in the past and how you can learn from it or how you can reuse it. They have number three, remove or unenroll students. This is very important, especially for the students themselves, because if you unenroll them, one, they cannot make edits or posts or anything to to your classroom, but it also helps their dashboard from getting overboard with so many classrooms. I myself, during a regular school year, I use Google Classroom quite a bit to help keep all my different groups going. So I have my e-learning classroom, but then I also have a classroom just for my links for the students to be able to access them all the time, because I don't always use or I use several different types of links, and I like to let them have access. Or if I have like the club's questionnaire, the club's form, I put that in my links. Um, they also have a math group and a reading group, so it's a place to keep all of their work in one place. Makes my dashboard compact, but at the end of the year, I take them out. I archive the class. Um, so we're going to work on classroom folders. We're going to look at how to organize your Google Drive. They do recommend making a folder for exemplary work from your students so that you can show for your future class. I would never have thought of that, so I thought that was great that they added that on this graphic. They add that in your shared with me on your Google Drive. You can't edit that. It's a filter and it's not a label, so you just leave that one be. If you use class calendar with Google Calendar, you need to delete the old classes so that it doesn't get bogged down. And then they recommend making a Google Classroom template, which I'll show you how to do and why that's would be beneficial. And then they also say to look back on your classroom practices, what you were doing. Did everything that you did work? What didn't work? What should you change? So that's different ways to look and reflect. So I'm going to show you um, a couple of these items or I say real quick, but I'm going to go through as fast as I can. I'm going to tell you guys the same thing I tell my students. Remember, you can pause, rewind. That's a great thing about these videos. So let's minimize this. So I'm going to go into my e-learning. The first thing that you may see is that I have locks. So once I was grading, and I finished it all last night. When I grade, I'll go into my classwork. I put all my classwork into topics. And I did daily topics, which worked. Some teachers I see on the support groups I mentioned, they do it by week, and I think that part of me thinks that that would get bogged down. But everybody is different. I personally like to do it daily so that those kids can see what each day has. And so my topics, once I finished all the grading, I put a lock emoji there so that not only do I remember that I already graded all that work, but all the kids know that that work is kaput. Mrs. Books is done grading it. She's not taking any more work. And then that's why I also put a lock on the title of my classroom, because that tells me, okay, I've already done all the grading. I finished it yesterday, which means, and that was the last day that I was taking work for my students, so I'm not going back into it. So again, it's for them and for me. It doesn't stop the students from getting into your classroom, but it does, show them that you're not taking it anymore. It is locked. There will always be some kids who will try to turn work in afterwards. It's just a process. So on the graphic, it said number 2 is to archive your class. And then number 3 is to remove or unenroll your students. If you archive your class, you cannot take the kids off of it. So you have to unenroll your students before you archive your class. So to unenroll your students, you go to People. And just like you would add them to your class, if you were adding a student, remember you click this person with the plus right here. And you can put their email in and send them an invite. It'll pop up. They just have to accept it. To unenroll them, you click this box to select all students. You go to the actions and you hit remove. Now, during the class, during school, if there are some kids that are making comments that you can't stop them, but you want to leave your comments open, this is something I just found out, and I could have used it before. So say Xanderman right here was just being rude on comments, and you don't want to stop it for everybody. What you can do is you click actions and mute. They can still submit the work. Other students won't see it. They cannot reply to classroom's work, and they can't comment or post. That is a perfect way to keep the comments up. This is also something that you can go and you can talk with that student. And if they, after a certain time, if you want to turn the comments back on for them, so say I mute him, okay? And he's got that button right there. However, I can click back here if you want to give him those options back and give him a trial. You can hit unmute. So I personally think that would be a great way to keep the comments up. I had a lot of problems this year. Did my kids not following directions with the comments? So I turned the commenting completely off, which you do that here in your settings. Right here for this stream, only teachers can post or comment. Students can only comment, which means they can't post, or students can post and comment. So I had such an issue with them not following my directions for appropriate comments that I just turned it off for everybody. Of course, it's a personal preference. But to remove your student, you click this button, go to Actions, and hit Remove. Okay, making sure, and my class is over. I've got all my grades in already, so I'm going to hit Remove. And I'll take a minute. See in the background, it's getting shorter and shorter. All right, and now I don't have any kids in there, okay? So now what you're going to do, since we removed all our students, is we are going to go to the classes dashboard where you see all of your classes. Okay, you're going to hit this 3 dots right here, and you're going to hit archive. And you're going to hit archive again, and it'll go away from your dashboard. However, if you click right here, and you have archive classes right here. So you still have access to the class that you just archived, okay? So, one of number 9, it says on the graphic, they recommended making a Google Class template. So that can be very, very beneficial for being able to reuse any posts that you had. So say I did a slide for social studies and I really liked it and I want to keep